Mom loved my brother more, but her golden child went too far. She's asking me for help after he ruined everything. Hello everyone, I am Mark, 32 male. My younger brother David is 29 male. This is about my family, and honestly I am still reeling from everything. I've been a long-time lurker on Reddit, mostly on our relationship advice and r/am I the asshole, but I never thought I would actually post. But here I am, because I need to know if I am crazy for feeling the way I do. Let's get right to it. Growing up, it was crystal clear who the favorite child was, and it was not me. It was always David. David could do no wrong in my parents' eyes, especially my mother. He was the golden child personified. Everything David did was amazing, brilliant, or just plain perfect. Me? Well, I was just Mark. From the time we were kids, it was like this. If David got a B on a test, it was because the teacher was too hard or he was having an off day. If I got a B, it was because I wasn't trying hard enough. If David broke a vase playing baseball in the house, it was boys will be boys. If I even accidentally nudged a glass and it fell, I was clumsy and careless. You get the picture. It wasn't just small things either. For birthdays and Christmas, David would get the big, expensive gifts he wanted. I would get something nice, sure, but always noticeably less. Like David would get the newest video game console and a stack of games, and I would get a sweater. Thanks, Mom and Dad. School events. My parents were always front and center for everything David did. Sports games, school plays, awards ceremonies, you name it. For me, they would try to make it, but often something would come up. Oh, David had a practice that ran late, or they were just too tired after David's thing. It always felt like my stuff was secondary. Even when we were adults, it continued. David decided he wanted to start a business. My parents were all in, helping him with money, connections, everything. When I talked about going back to school for my MBA, my dad's response was something like, "That's a big expense. Are you sure you need that?" It was like they were actively encouraging David and passively discouraging me at every turn. Honestly, I got used to it. I learned to not expect much from them. I focused on my own life, my own career, my own friends. I met my wife, Sarah, 30 female, and we built a good life together. We are happy. We are comfortable. We don't need my parents' approval or their handouts. Or so I thought. Recently, David's perfect golden child life hit a major snag. Turns out, running a business is harder than just having your parents bankroll you and tell you how amazing you are. David's business, which was some kind of trendy online clothing store, started failing. Badly. He made some really poor decisions and it spiraled. He is not good with money, to put it mildly. He is impulsive and, frankly, a bit spoiled. He always expected things to just work out for him because they always had. So, what did David do when his business started tanking? He doubled down on the bad decisions. Instead of cutting his losses or seeking help, he started taking out more loans, maxing out credit cards, basically digging himself deeper and deeper into a financial hole. And he kept it all secret from my parents. Classic David. Then the inevitable happened. The business completely collapsed. He is not just broke, he is in serious debt. Like house losing, credit ruining, life-altering debt. And now suddenly my parents are in the picture big time, because their golden boy is in trouble. My parents found out about David's financial disaster about a month ago. He finally broke down and told them everything. My mom called me, sounding frantic. "Mark, you won't believe what David has done. He is in so much trouble, we need to help him." I listened to my mom explain the situation, the massive debt, the failed business, everything. Honestly, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Part of me felt bad for David. I mean, nobody wants to go through that kind of financial stress. But another part of me, a bigger part if I am being honest, felt a sort of grim satisfaction. Like finally, the golden child is facing consequences for his actions. Welcome to the real world, David. Then my mom said the words that really made my jaw drop. "Mark, we need your help. We were hoping maybe you could talk to David. You are good with money, right? Maybe you can help him figure out a plan. Reddit, are you kidding me? After years of being the second-class son, the one who was never quite good enough, the one who had to figure everything out on his own, they are asking me to bail out their golden child. The one they always showered with praise and support while I was getting sweaters for Christmas. The audacity. I told my mom, I am sorry to hear about David, but I am not a financial advisor. I have my own life, my own job. I don't know what you expect me to do. My mom's voice got that pleading tone she uses when she really wants something. Mark, please, David is really struggling. He is so depressed. We are so worried about him. You are his brother. Can't you just help him out? I said, Mom, David made his own choices. He got himself into this mess. Why is it my responsibility to get him out? Where was this help and support when I was starting out? When I was figuring out my career, paying off my student loans, building my life from scratch? Nobody offered me a bailout. My mom sighed, that dramatic sigh she does. Mark, that is not fair. We helped you in our own way. And David is different. He is just more sensitive. He needs our support more. Sensitive? Reddit, David is not sensitive. He is spoiled. He is used to getting his way. And my parents have enabled it his entire life. And now they expect me to clean up his mess because he is too sensitive to deal with the consequences of his own actions. No, just no. I ended the call with my mom by saying I would think about it, but honestly I was seething. I talked to Sarah about it that night. She listened patiently as I ranted about the golden child syndrome, the unfairness, the years of feeling like I was always second best. Sarah is amazing. She always knows how to calm me down and see things more clearly. She said, Mark, I understand why you are upset. It is not fair, but think about David. He is your brother. He is in trouble. Maybe you can help him, not for your parents, but for David. I thought about what Sarah said. And she had a point. David is my brother, even if we have never been super close. And yeah, our parents played favorites, but that is their problem, not necessarily David's fault directly. He did not ask to be the golden child. He just benefited from it. And now he is paying the price for his own mistakes. So I called my mom back the next day. I said, Mom, I will talk to David, but I am not promising anything. I will not bail him out financially. And I am not going to let you or Dad guilt me into doing something I don't want to do. I will talk to him, offer some advice, maybe help him make a budget or something. But that is it. My mom sounded relieved. Oh, Mark, thank you so much. That is all we ask, just talk to him. It will mean so much to him and to us. I arranged to meet David for coffee a few days later. It was awkward. We haven't really had a serious conversation in years. He looked terrible, tired, stressed, like he hadn't slept in weeks. He was usually so put together, always dressed in the latest fashion, hair perfectly styled. Now, he looked like he had just rolled out of bed. We sat down at a table in the coffee shop, and I just jumped right in. David, Mom and Dad told me about your business. I am sorry to hear things went so badly. David sighed and ran a hand through his messy hair. Yeah, well, it is a disaster. I messed up big time, Mark. Really big time. He went on to explain in more detail about the business, the loans, the debt. It was worse than I thought. He was not just in debt, he was drowning in it, and he had no idea what to do. I listened and I tried to be empathetic. I asked questions, trying to understand the situation better. And I started to see a different side of David, a side I had never really seen before. He was not just the arrogant golden child I had always resented. He was scared. He was lost. He was genuinely regretful about his mistakes. After he finished telling me everything, there was silence for a moment. Then David looked at me, his eyes actually teary. Mark, I don't know what to do. Mom and Dad are freaking out. They are trying to help, but they don't really understand any of this business stuff. You are good with money. You always have been. Can you help me? Reddit, that was the first time David had ever asked me for help, for real help. Not just borrowing $20 or asking me to cover for him with our parents when he screwed up something small. This was real, and it was vulnerable, and it was coming from my golden child brother. I took a deep breath and said, "David, I can try to help, but you need to be honest with me. And you need to be willing to listen to my advice, even if it is not what you want to hear. Are you ready for that?" David nodded quickly. "Yes, anything, just please help me." So that is what I started to do. I spent the next few weeks working with David. We went through all his finances, his debts, his assets, everything. It was a mess, a huge mess. But slowly we started to make a plan. I helped him contact a financial advisor, someone who specialized in debt management. I helped him negotiate with his creditors. I helped him create a realistic budget. It was a lot of work, a lot of time, and honestly, a lot of emotional energy because dealing with David was still, well, David. He could be frustrating, resistant to advice, and still prone to moments of golden child entitlement. But overall, he was trying. He was actually trying. And my parents, they were surprisingly staying out of it. They seemed to be taking my lead, which was a first. They were grateful that I was helping David, and they actually started treating me differently. Not like the golden child, no, but with respect, with appreciation. It was weird, but also kind of nice. It has been a few months now since David's business collapsed. He is still in a tough spot financially, but he is making progress. He is working with a financial advisor. He is sticking to his budget. He is even looking for a regular job, something he has never really had to do before. He is learning some hard lessons, but I think maybe he is finally growing up. And me? Well, I learned something too. Helping David was not just about helping him. It was about helping myself. It was about breaking the old patterns of our family dynamics. It was about showing myself and maybe even my parents that I am not just the overlooked son. I am capable. I am competent. And I am a good brother even to a golden child. So, Reddit, here is my question. Am I the asshole for feeling a little bit of satisfaction when David's perfect life fell apart? Am I wrong for initially being reluctant to help him? And am I crazy for actually feeling like maybe, just maybe, this whole mess might actually bring our family closer together, in a weird, twisted way? Help me out here, Reddit. Update 1. Wow, Reddit, I am honestly blown away by the response to my story. I posted this late last night, and I woke up this morning to hundreds of comments. Thank you all for your support and your insights. It is really helpful to hear from so many people who understand the golden child dynamic and who have been through similar situations. A lot of you are asking for updates and asking about David and my parents. So, here is a bit more information. First, to answer some common questions. Yes, my parents are still very much in the golden child mindset, but I think they are starting to see things a little differently. They are still very worried about David, but they are also starting to realize that enabling him his whole life did him no favors. They are seeing firsthand the consequences of their favoritism, and I think it is making them reflect, at least a little bit. As for David, he is actually doing better than I expected. He is still struggling with his debt, but he is really trying to turn things around. He got a job, not a glamorous, high-paying job, but a regular job at a retail store. It is a huge step for him. He has never had to work a real job before. He is learning about responsibility, about showing up on time, about dealing with customers, all the basic stuff that most people learn in their first job in high school or college. He is 29 years old and just now learning these things. It is kind of sad, but also kind of encouraging to see him finally taking responsibility for his life. Several of you asked about my parents' financial help. To clarify, they did give David some money initially when his business was starting, but it wasn't a huge amount. The bulk of his debt is from loans and credit cards he took out on his own. My parents are not bailing him out of this mess financially now. They are offering emotional support, and they are grateful that I am helping him with the financial planning and advice. I think they realize that just throwing money at the problem won't fix it, and might actually make it worse in the long run. Some of you asked if David is resentful of me helping him. Honestly, I was expecting him to be. I thought he might see it as me gloating or trying to take over, but surprisingly, he is not. He seems genuinely grateful for my help. He even said to me the other day, "Mark, I don't know what I would do without you right now." That was a shocker. Coming from golden child David, that is practically a confession of weakness. But it was also, I think, sincere. I also want to address the question of whether I am an asshole for feeling satisfaction when David's life fell apart. Based on the comments, most of you seem to think I am not. And honestly, reading your comments has made me feel a lot better about those feelings. It is not that I wanted David to fail, but I think a part of me did want him to experience some consequences, to understand that life is not always easy, and that being the golden child does not shield you from everything. And yeah, maybe there was a little bit of schadenfreude in there, but after years of being the second-class son, I think I am allowed to have a little bit of that. Thank you again for all your comments and support. It means a lot to know that I am not alone in dealing with this kind of family dynamic. I will keep you updated on how things progress with David and my parents. And Reddit, you guys are the best. Update 2. Hello again, Reddit. Another update on the golden child situation. Things have continued to evolve, and honestly, in some unexpected ways. First, David is still working at the retail store, and surprisingly, he is actually doing pretty well. He is learning the ropes, he is getting good feedback from his manager, and he is even starting to enjoy it, believe it or not. He says it is nice to just have a regular job, to not have the stress of running a failing business hanging over his head. He is still dealing with the debt, but having a steady income is making a big difference. He is also continuing to work with a financial advisor, and they are making progress on a debt repayment plan. My parents have also continued to be more supportive of me and less focused on just David. It is subtle, but noticeable. For example, my mom called me the other day just to ask how I was doing, not about David, not about some family drama, just about me. That is a first. And my dad actually asked me for advice on something work-related. He has always been the one giving advice, never asking for it, especially not from me. It is like they are finally starting to see me as an adult, as someone with value and competence, not just as David's less successful older brother. But here is the really unexpected part. David and I are actually starting to become friends, real friends. We have been spending more time together, not just talking about his finances, but just hanging out. We went to a baseball game last weekend. We grabbed dinner the other night. We are actually talking to each other like normal brothers. It is so weird and so wonderful at the same time. I think going through this crisis together has actually bonded us in a way that nothing else ever could. David is seeing me in a new light, not just as the older brother who was always in the background, but as someone who is there for him, who is helping him, who actually cares about him. And I am seeing David in a new light too, not just as the spoiled golden child, but as a flawed, vulnerable human being who is capable of learning and growing. We even talked about our childhood the other day, about the golden child thing. It was the first time we have ever really talked about it openly. I was a little nervous to bring it up, but David actually initiated it. He said, "Mark, I know Mom and Dad always favored me growing up. It wasn't fair to you. I am sorry." Reddit, I almost choked on my coffee when he said that. Golden child David apologizing for anything. It was unbelievable, but he seemed sincere. He said he realizes now how much pressure he was under to be perfect, to always be the golden child. And he realizes how much it hurt me to always be in his shadow. He said he wants to be a better brother to me, and he wants us to actually have a real relationship. I told him, "David, I appreciate that, and honestly, I want that too. I have always wanted to be closer to you, but it was always hard with the way things were. Maybe, just maybe, this is a chance for us to start over. So, yeah, Reddit, things are changing. In my family, in my relationship with my parents, and especially in my relationship with David. It is still a work in progress, and there are still challenges ahead. David still has a long way to go to get out of debt. My parents are still, well, my parents. but for the first time in my life, I feel like there is hope for real change. And it is all thanks to a failed business and a golden child who finally had to face reality. Life is weird, isn't it? Thanks again for all your support and encouragement. Stay tuned for more updates. Update 3. Hey Reddit, back with another update, and this one is pretty significant. Things have taken another unexpected turn in the Golden Child saga. Remember how I said David was working at a retail store and actually doing well? Well, he got promoted. Seriously. After only a few months, he got promoted to assistant manager. Apparently, he is a natural at customer service and sales. Who knew? He is actually thriving in this environment. He is making more money, he is gaining confidence, and he is really starting to believe in himself again. It is amazing to see. And the best part, he is using his newfound success to help pay off his debt. He is being incredibly responsible with his money, sticking to his budget, and making extra payments whenever he can. He is determined to dig himself out of this hole, and he is actually doing it. I am so proud of him, Reddit. Seriously proud. I never thought I would say that about my golden child brother, but here we are. My parents are also thrilled, of course. They are so relieved to see David doing well again. They are also, I think, starting to understand the value of hard work and resilience, maybe more than they did before. They are still praising David, but it is different now. It is not just blind adoration. It is genuine pride in his accomplishments, in his efforts, in his growth. And our relationship, David's and mine, continues to grow stronger. We are talking more, hanging out more, and actually supporting each other. He is becoming a real friend, a real brother. We even started a new tradition. Every Sunday we have brunch together, just the two of us. We talk about our week, our plans, our lives. It is simple, but it is meaningful. It is building a bond that we never had before. But here is the biggest surprise of all. My parents are planning a family vacation. And they want both David and me and our spouses to go with them. A family vacation, with all of us. That has not happened in years. Decades, maybe. We used to take family vacations when we were kids, but as we got older, it just stopped. Life got busy, we went our separate ways, and family vacations became a thing of the past. But now, my parents want to revive the tradition. They are talking about renting a beach house for a week, somewhere warm and sunny. They want all of us to be together, to relax, to reconnect, to just be a family. And you know what? I am actually looking forward to it. I am looking forward to spending time with my parents, with Sarah, and yes, even with David. Especially with David. It feels like this whole financial crisis, this whole golden child meltdown, has actually been a catalyst for positive change in our family. It has forced us to confront some uncomfortable truths, to break old patterns, and to build new connections. It is not perfect, and we still have a long way to go, but we are moving in the right direction. And that, Reddit, is something to be grateful for. I will let you know how the family vacation goes if it actually happens. Fingers crossed. Thanks again for being such a supportive community. Update 4. Hey Reddit, final update on the Golden Child story, at least for now. And it is a good one. The family vacation happened, and it was actually amazing. We went to a beach house in Florida for a week. My parents, David and his girlfriend, Sarah, and me. I was a little nervous going into it, honestly. I was worried about old family dynamics resurfacing, about tension, about awkwardness. But surprisingly, none of that happened. It was like we were all different people. My parents were relaxed, happy, and genuinely interested in spending time with both of their sons. They treated David and me equally, no golden child favoritism, no subtle put-downs for me. It was like they had finally realized that they have two sons, and they love us both equally. It was a revelation. David was fantastic. He was confident, funny, and just genuinely enjoyable to be around. He wasn't the arrogant golden child of the past, and he wasn't the stressed-out, failing business owner of a few months ago. He was just David, my brother, my friend. We spent hours talking, laughing, playing games on the beach. It was like we were making up for lost time, for all the years we were distant and disconnected. Sarah and I had a great time too. It was nice to see my parents and David in a relaxed, happy environment. Sarah really hit it off with David's girlfriend, and they spent a lot of time together. It was just a really positive, harmonious family dynamic. Something I never thought I would experience with my family. We had dinners together every night, cooked meals together, played cards, watched movies. We even had a couple of family beach days, building sandcastles and swimming in the ocean. It was cheesy, I know, but it was also really, really nice. It felt like we were actually a family, in the way families are supposed to be. And the best part, David and I had some really good conversations, just the two of us. We talked about our childhood, about our parents, about our futures. We talked about our feelings, our insecurities, our hopes and dreams. It was so open and honest, something that was completely foreign to our relationship before. He even thanked me again for helping him with his financial mess. He said, "Mark, I don't know where I would be without you. You really saved me." And I said, "David, you did the hard work. I just gave you a little guidance. You are the one who turned things around. And you know what? I meant it." David did turn things around. He took responsibility for his mistakes, he worked hard to fix them, and he emerged stronger and better on the other side. He is still paying off his debt, but he is on track, and he is confident he will get there. And he is doing it all on his own, without relying on my parents to bail him out. So, Reddit, that is the end of my golden child story, at least for now. It has been a long and unexpected journey with its share of ups and downs, but in the end, it had a happy ending. David is doing well, my parents are changing, and my relationship with my brother is stronger than ever. And I learned a valuable lesson too. Sometimes, even the most difficult family dynamics can change. Sometimes, even golden children can grow up. And sometimes, helping someone else is the best way to help yourself. Thank you all for following my story, for your comments, your advice, and your support. It really helped me to process everything and to see things in a new light. Reddit, you are amazing. And to answer my original question, no, I am not the asshole. And yes, sometimes good things can come out of bad situations. What would you do in my situation? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more shocking real-life stories happening around you.